have it available, the next step is to start connecting to your Chrome driver from Python code and performing operations. So let's do that up next. Now, yeah, let's start with this. Now that we know this basic idea, let's get to the next part. I'm just going to take this zip file and I'm just going to keep this in our directory that we need. So our directory is Python tutorial. I'm just going to go to Selenium and I'm just going to create a new directory called web driver, and I'm going to place this here. So if you take a look at the zip file, you should have all these sort of things. A lot of files will be there within it, including chrome.exe and everything. So there are a lot of things that will exist within it. And this is what we have. Now, let's go ahead. Please let me know if you're able to perform these operations till now. Also, specifically, please let me know if you're unable to perform any of these operations so that I can particularly help out to um, resolve any issue that you might face.
I'm all set so far.
All right, awesome. That's pretty awesome. Now, in this case, let me go back to one little thing. I'll see. Oh, yeah, think um, I think there's one little mistake. Let me just cross-verify this. Right. So let me get back to Selenium because I think this may be the new thing that Selenium has come up with. Let me just cross-verify this immediately for our reference. Let me just check Python API documentation. Again, if you want to get into detail about um, how to how to do anything within this, like click any button, log in, do whatever you want within Selenium. This is probably the best documentation. It's done by the official developers and it's really beautiful to work through it. So yeah, here's what they're saying. Install Selenium, and once you've installed Selenium, go ahead and download the Chrome driver. Once you have downloaded driver, either for Chrome or for Edge, Firefox, Safari, whichever browser it is, go ahead with it and start loading it. That's pretty much it. Now let's start loading this. There's one little thing here where they haven't specified where they're loading it from. That's fine. We'll just try to work around this. This should not be a complicated thing. I think they have recently changed this, if I'm not wrong, but it's fine. Let's try to work around this. So here's what we're going to do. Since we have installed Selenium, let's go from Selenium import WebDriver. This is the first thing we need. We need to connect the WebDriver and we need to start our driver. So to connect our WebDriver, let's go ahead and use driver equals WebDriver dot Chrome. Since we are currently using Chrome, I'm going to use Chrome and I'm going to create an object of it. I believe the recent one, I don't have to provide anything. It might download all the details automatically if I'm not wrong. Let me try this out first. If it doesn't work, I'll connect it with the zip file that we have here. That's what I'll do. So let me just try this basic thing out. Once you import WebDriver from Selenium and you create a driver object from it, the next step is to just start driver, whatever your driver object is, and just use get function to access any web page. I'm just going to use a web page that is google.com, for instance, and let's run this. Oh, I have to go to the previous directory. There we go. Yeah, perfect. We didn't even have to download it in that case. So I'm sorry for that. So I realized that there is a new thing that they have added where it automatically downloads the WebDriver. So you don't have to. So I think I can delete this and run this. It should still work without any worry. There we go. It automatically detects it. That's all you need to do, I guess. Oh, okay, there's a lot of things have been updated in this. Okay, that's pretty awesome. Setting up Selenium has become much easier for us, thankfully. So yeah, this is all you need to do to begin with. All you need to do here is just use driver.get any particular web page. And the moment you specify a web page, you get to access that web page. That's it. That's pretty much it. Now, next thing, what do I do with this? What do I do with this ahead? What is the next thing I can do with this? Now that I know this, I want to perform some operations with it. I want to do some actions with it. That's the next thing we'll do. So right now we have learned how to open up a web page using Selenium driver. The next thing is to interact with that web page. We want to interact with that particular web page. And here's where I will introduce you to an add-on available, extension available within Chrome. It's called extension. I think I need to visit Chrome's web store. Yeah. Yeah, this is the one, Palm Builder. This is the extension I would highly suggest because it's something that I often use to generate locators. And I'm just going to explain what that means. I'm just adding to my Chrome for now. This is going to help. Again, you can uninstall and delete this once the session is done. You only need this for Selenium purposes. Other than that, you literally don't need it, just for reference. So the whole idea of Palm Builder here is that it helps obtain all the locators. And here's what you need to know about locators. Let's start with google.com. When you enter Google website, you see the following things. Now let's say I want to perform some operation where the moment Selenium opens my web page, again, I'm just performing a very simple operation of opening up Google. This is the operation I'm performing. However, you can perform a lot of simple or complicated operations, like, for example, when you want to perform web scraping. I'll give you a simple example of where this was recently used. Um, Take a look at ChatGPT. I'll just give you the scenario. Let's assume ChatGPT, or let's assume the text to speech model that we have seen. How will it get to know a lot of information? How will it get to know a lot of such data, like what is to be spoken how, or for what is to be responded? Um, ChatGPT has to be literally trained on all the data that is available in the internet. To train it on all the data available in the internet, you need to download the data available in the internet. And you can't have a person do that, especially with each website having millions of web pages. You can't have a person do all of these things. That's where Selenium can help you scrape data off web pages, save them so you can use it for any purpose. I'll give you one more example. Um, if you remember, I think we have discussed one example where I talked about English to Swedish document conversion. The way we created the model for English to Swedish conversion is we used Selenium first to walk through English page of a website and Swedish page of a website, copy both content, save it, do this for millions of different pages, and then feed this to a machine learning model which understood how to translate from English to Swedish by the documents that we have provided it, then use that to, let's say, perform this operation. It could be any things like this, or as simple as every morning you want to run a script which will open your work profile page, or and log in or sign up, or check in or check out, or send an email that you feel like is commonly done and you just want to perform that operation, whatever it could be. Or every time for some purpose you have to go to a website and download something, any such thing you can do within Selenium. And the big advantage is you can do it within Selenium so that it doesn't occupy your screen. It can literally do it in the background. It doesn't even occupy your screen. So you can do other operations meanwhile. It's going to open an instance of this browser within itself, which doesn't cover your screen. It will do it in the background. That's one way to run it, and I'll show you how to run it. But for now, for us to understand, we're going to open a web page and try it out because we want to see how it works. So here's what I want to do. I'll go to, I'll just right click here, click on inspect, and I'll go to this elements tab. Within elements tab, you can see all the different elements that are there within your web page. I want this particular element. That is the search bar. To get to search bar, you can either search through all of these elements and find it, or you can just right click on the search bar and click inspect again. It'll particularly go to that search bar. You can see this search bar is a text area and it has some name like this. And whenever you have random names which you cannot understand, just remember next time you reload this, this is going to change. That's because they don't want you to automate. It will change each time. So this is the text area name right now, but the next time I refresh this, okay, it has not changed so far. Maybe I need to hard refresh to change it, but yeah, it has not changed for our reference. So you can see it's there as it is. So this is all about your text area in which you can type anything. Now, I'm just gonna edit this. In this edit HTML, I'm just gonna type here, this is something I want to search. And I'll just press enter and I'm done with it. Um, okay, it did not add this up for some reason. Okay, but it's fine. It's fine even if it hasn't. We'll work around to add it ahead. We'll work around to type something ahead in it. So the basic idea here is that you can search anything. You can take a look at this images. If you inspect these images, this images button, you get to see it belongs to a class called GBE and it has these things and so on. So you can particularly identify something and click on it or type something somewhere, all these things. Applying directly on websites like this on day one is not going to be easy. It's going to be complicated. To make it easy, we're going to use Tools QA Selenium website. Tools QA has a beautiful website where you can try out Selenium by yourself. They have a testing website for you to try out. I believe I should be able to access it right here. Let me search. Yeah, demo site. Here it is. So we basically have a demo site we can access here. Um, let's ignore the ad. So basically you have demoqa.com. So this is a demonstrative website that they use. So there are a lot of such Selenium demo websites that are there. Yeah, QA Fox. Yes, this is one of them. I remember this as well. Yeah, so these are some of them. So this is a fantastic web page, to be honest. So you get to see a text input field here. You want to type something here, you get to automate it. You get to hover here to make this drop down. You get to do this. This whole web page has everything you want. You want to automate checkboxes, you get to learn from this. You get to drop down something and work around it, you get to. So everything you can get to do this. I think we'll use this as our initial page for learning. But you can apply this logic to any page, to be honest. So if you want to click on a link, you can do that to lead to another page. There's so many things you can do. So this demo page is what we are going to use for our reference. I'm just using something that is made for Selenium so that we can learn on day one and it should not become difficult. That's my only purpose. All right. So let's go ahead to this text input field. I just want to click on this, or I want to click on this green and purple image, something like this. You just want to perform some operation. So how do we do that, or how do we perform this? Let's start with the first thing. Right click, go to inspect. You'll get these elements. And if you take a look at any of these, I'll just right click in this text box and click on inspect. You see this is the input type. Now, if you're not aware of web, okay, let me ask this question along with it. On a scale of 1 to 5, how comfortable are you with HTML, CSS development? You can just let me know. So I can just introduce you to this particular. Um, part of Selenium in appropriate way so that we can get to know and work around appropriately. I should have asked this in prior, but yeah. Okay, so five, that's pretty awesome. I presume, um, all right, 1 bar 5, that's totally cool. That's totally cool. We're only gonna do some basic stuff, so um, yeah, that is fine. That is fine. One is absolutely fine. Now I have a clarity on this. We'll go accordingly. Now, the idea is that every element in a web page must have a unique ID. If you get to know what is that unique ID, you can access it. Now, these unique IDs are accessed by something called locators in Selenium. Locators are how do you want to access a web element? You can access it by ID if it has a unique ID. If it has a unique name, you can access it by name. If it has a unique XPath, you can access it by XPath. If it has a unique class, you can access it by class. So in short, what I'm trying to say here is each element, each element that is going to be available within a web page can be located with multiple strategies. It can be located by multiple ways. You can locate it by its CSS selector or any other thing. And whichever is unique, that is what you're supposed to take. If, for example, some developer has created two text boxes, both of them have the same name called text box and text box, then you shouldn't use text box because both of them have same name and you won't be able to access your unique element. However, if one of the text box has an ID called username and the other text box has an ID called password, then you know ID will be unique. That's how you can access ID. Now, this becomes complicated, right? We cannot expect ourselves to go through entire web page and get to know what is the unique part of this. I can see here when I right click in this text box and go to inspect, I can see its input type is text and we have an ID. As long as this ID is unique, it's fine. But I have to search with every single ID to make sure it is unique. If I go to the next text area, for example, if I go to this one and click on inspect, sorry. Yeah, if I click on inspect, you can see it has its ID as my text area. It also has a name. It also has a class. So which one out of this is unique is what I need to figure out. Whichever one is unique, that is the one I should check. That is the one I should use. So how do I do this? How do I figure out which one is unique? To figure that out, we have a very simple way to do that. Once you go to Elements tab, once you select anything, go to Inspect and go to this particular element, and you can see here there's more tabs option. Go to more tabs and click on Pom Builder, the one that we just installed right now. The I think I closed this. This particular Chrome extension that we installed right now, Form Builder, once it is installed, you should be able to go to Elements and click on More tabs and click on Form Builder. What this does is it will tell you what should be the locator. Is it unique or not? It will tell you everything. For example, once I click on this, this is the ID my text input. It is telling me recommended locator is ID. But take a look at this. Should I use ID or not? It's having some warning as well. I don't know why this warning is not being selected. For some reason, the warning is not selected, but this is what it says. It says there is no other ID most probably with my text input, so you can use this. So you can actually test it. I'll use ID here and I will check ID called my text input ID and I will search. It will tell me there's only one element. You can see it points to where it is. Instead of ID as this, if I choose name or if I choose, let's say tag, if I choose tag as input and I search, you get to see tag as input has 12 different elements. Since there are 12 different elements, I cannot use tag as input as the unique thing. I should use tag. Instead, I should use ID that we have here. That is Let's get back to this. My text input, and I'll just place this here and I'll switch it back to ID and search. There's only one. As long as you can find it unique, you should use that. This is how you get to identify unique elements. Again, I'll just point this out for reference. If you want to enter username and password in a web page, username will be of type text. Password will be also of type text. If you use type as text, you will not know which one you're accessing. Of course, it will access the first one it retrieves. But what if you want to access second one with type text? Then you won't be able to. You'll run into problems. So apart from type text, see if there's anything that is unique. Is ID unique? Is name unique? Is class unique? Is CSS unique? XPath is something entirely different. I don't think we can go well deep within it in a short time, but I just wanted to point this out to begin with. So yeah, let's take this up. So I want to select this ID called my text input. That's how I get to know it's unique. So yeah, before I go ahead, I just want to ask one question. Is it clear till here, guys? Please let me know if there's any queries still here so that we can walk through any query that you might have. If there are no queries, let's move ahead right away. So if any queries, please let me know. Especially those who are newer to HTML development, all that we are looking at is just what is unique about this element. Whatever is unique about this element, we're trying to find it. That's all. It could be any one of these. It could be different ones for different scenarios. If you go to google.com, as we did before, and if you right click and go to inspect, and again, just go for form builder, you can see recommended locator is ID. It says the ID for this is APJFQB, apparently. Somewhere it must be there. Yeah, here you go. We can see here ID is APJFQB. It says this is the only one that exists with ID APJFQB. But when random IDs like this occur, please remember when random IDs like this occur, there's a really good chance when you open another browser, this ID might change. They do it on purpose. So that's one thing you need to know. This is static. You know that its ID is my text input. So very rarely do you get to see this, but just remember this for our reference. I'll just try opening Chrome in a private, Google in a private window to see if the same thing occurs. I'm not sure if that might or might not happen, but I just wanted to check this out to show you for reference. Oh, I don't have this. Yeah, okay, we have got the same ID. That's fine. That's fine. So maybe they hopefully they don't do that. They have the same one, at least for a day or something. I don't know. But yeah, that's what you have. So this is what I wanted to show you to begin with. You have to find something that is unique. And instead of you having to go through the struggle to do all of this, you have form builder that will do this. There is page object model builder that does this. And that's what I wanted to show initially. So if there are any questions still here, please take a minute, walk through this and ask me if there are any queries. If there are no queries, however, we can go through to the next part. Okay, I hope and presume we can um, move ahead in such a scenario. Right. All right. So with this, let's go ahead and let's try to enter some text here. Let's try to enter some text in this particular web page. And we got to know that I need to find this by ID. So let's start with this. Now, Selenium offers a few simple functions to find elements in the web page. Very simple functions. Once you open a web page, once you perform driver.get of this, the next thing you just need to do is find that element. Whatever that element is, you need to find it. To find that particular element, it offers simple and easy functions like driver.find element. Elements is when you're detecting more than one element. Find element is when you're detecting a single element. I'm going to detect a single element. And when you detect a single element, it'll ask you by what method do you want to detect the element. This is where we'll see what we just learned. You have to use by dot which particular method you want to detect that particular element. So yeah, let's do that. And yeah, let's see how we can detect this particularly. Now, by is something that you need to import in Selenium. So let's see. Let's import Selenium. I'll just walk you through the official documentation as well, so that here we go. This is the one. So by is a class that supports the following strategies. As we saw, class name, CSS selector, ID, link text. There are many things it supports. We just have to select one of them. So let's go ahead, import this by class. And once we import this by class, let's start working on it. So let's go ahead and import from selenium.webdriver.common import by, right? So once, okay, I'm so sorry, dot by import by. It's a class. You need to import the class, not the package module. So with by, here's what you need to by dot. You can see all these things are available. The one that I want to interact with is called ID. So we saw that it was ID, and the ID was my text input. So let's interact it with this particular ID, that is my text input. So there are two parameters you need to pass in find element. One is how do you want to interact with it, by ID or by name or by what particular parameter. Next, once you interact with it, what is the name of that particular ID or name or CSS selector, whatever it is. That is exactly what we're doing. So we are finding this element and we're interacting with it. And that element, let's just call it as text input. We'll just call it as text input, or if you want to be specific, you can call it as text input element. So the whole idea, whatever you want to do with any button or any text area, anything that is there, you have to first find that element and get that element. Once you get that particular element, you can perform operations on top of that element. That's it. The operation I want to show first is to type. To type, we have send keys as an inbuilt function. Let me just walk you through this. So we have send keys, yeah, as an inbuilt method here. Let's, yeah. Once you find an element, here's what you see. Once you find an element, uh, it will give you an object of web element. So the idea here is that whenever you perform find element, this is an object of web element. As we see, it's an object of web element. Web elements have certain functions they can run. One of the functions of web element is to send keys. Let's scroll down until S. This is the function we're looking for. Send keys is where you're going to take a web element and call send keys function and type what you want to send. If, for example, for username, type admin. For password, type something else, just for example. So let's try this out. We're just going to use send keys of typing here for a trial or something like that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all you need to know to begin with. So please let me know if there are any queries still here. I'll walk you through if any queries are there. Right. So no queries. So what I'm going to do here is just use time.sleep of 5, and I'm going to import time as well. This means that once this, the whole idea is once this program is completed, the driver will exit, which means you will the browser will basically close. To avoid it, We're just sleeping for 5 minutes, waiting for, sorry, 5 seconds, so that we get to see this on the screen. Let's run this and let's take a look at this. We're opening the browser, we're opening this page, and you can see here, typing here for a trial is automatically typed. These sort of things, like typing username, then typing password, then logging in, and let's say sending an email or just tweeting something or whatever it could be, a lot of things can be automated. You might already think of things that you can automate in your everyday life. This is how you can perform, let's say, automation for it. Now, moving ahead, I also said that you can perform this without any browser being visible. I've told you that whatever operation we just did, I can perform this without having the browser being seen at all, so that it performs it in the backend and I don't even get to know. To do that, you have a couple of ways to do it. I'll just walk you through this. From Selenium, again, all of this, I'm just walking through these important parts given our limited time, so that you can take a look at these specifically and implement these